tuned in to a really real show. Real show, straight facts coming from the big bro. Brandon. You tuned in to a really real show. Real show, straight facts coming from the big bro. Brandon. Relatable to everyone and anyone who listen. Relatable to everyone and anyone who listen. Relatable to everyone and anyone who listen. You tuned in to a really real show. Real show, straight facts coming from the big bro. Brandon. Tuned in to a really real show. Real show, straight facts coming from the big bro. Brandon, the real.
Yo, what's happening, fam? This is Big Brother Brandon, man, and we want to introduce you to the first season, very first episode of The Real with Big Brother Brandon, man. I have an awesome guest this week, man. Look, an awesome guest, and look, we'll be doing this podcast bi-weekly. So I just want to encourage you guys to tune in. That gives us time to share it. And like I said, I just want you guys to stay tuned, man. We have some awesome guests dealing with diversity, dealing with, oh man, the biggest thing that we love is beating the beast. We want to teach people how to become the beast that beats the beast. You know, life throws adversity at us, life throws issues at us. But look, we want you guys to know and equip you guys with testimonies, equip you with skills, and man, even styles, man. How many of y'all know you can beat the beast with swag, man? But look, this is what we're gonna do, man. We want to introduce my first guest, very first podcast, man, Mr. BRAYLON Harris. What's happening, bro?
What's going on, big brother? What's going on, man? So grateful, so glad, man. Listen, congratulations on the podcast, man. So incredible, man. I salute you, big bro. Let's do this thing. Let's
Yes,
get real.
sir.
Let's
Yes,
get
sir.
real.
Man, that's it. I like that, man. Look, one of the things, and I know we're dealing with COVID now, but one of the things that we like to say around here is, man, look, it's time to take your mask off. And we're not talking about the COVID. Keep them on, protect yourself, protect your family. But take your mask off, man, and let's get real. Look, man, first thing we want to talk about, man, is, look, I guess we can start from the beginning, man. As we talk and even experience each other growing up, you know, one of the things that we notice is that we have experienced growing up, man, and from what I'm hearing, what I'm knowing is you're a preacher's child. One of the things that's awesome about being a preacher's child, man, is we grow up with diversity. We have a home life. We have a church life. We got a school life, and man, and look and not only that, man. I heard that, man, growing up, you've experienced your fair share of diversity, man. Tell us about it, man. How was growing up, man? What changes and difficulties did you deal with growing up, man? Talk to us.
You know, listen, it's so fun talking to my big brother, man, because, I'm telling you stuff you already know, but I'm going to give you a different perspective from my angle, you know. And that's the incredible part about it. I think, that's one of the keys to it is that even, for example, us being brothers growing up in the same household, going through the same situation, the reality to it is the perspective made it diverse just from that angle.
Yes.
And so knowing we were in the same house, raised by the same parents, going through the same trials and tribulations, but also watching how we responded and reacted differently has significantly, man, put me at an advantage to know that people can be in the same situation, going through the same thing, same and raising or whatever the case may be, and still come up with a different response to that, man. So that's an incredible piece of knowledge right there, man. That's an incredible piece of knowledge because so many times people think, oh, to come up with a different solution, you had to have a different variable. You know what I mean? Or whatever the case may be. But the reality to it is our personalities and our perceptions are the variable that changes everything. So you can have all the same location and rearing, raising, finances, all that could be the same, but you as an individual are going to be the variable in every formula that you face in life, and so you're going to come up with a different solution. And so so coming up, man.
And see, that's one thing that's awesome about keeping it real. When you keep it real, man, you have an opportunity to develop your personal skill set. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, man, we wind up going through things and dealing with situations, but I can't handle my situation like you handled your situation. But when I'm real with myself, you know what I'm saying? It's just like going work on a car, man. I can't go work on my car thinking about using your toolbox. I got to look at the tools that's in my personal box. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's awesome, man. Like you said, those really being able to look at your situation from your personal vantage point. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think people realize how diverse you can be. Even equipped with the same thing, man. Your emotions can make things totally different. You know what I'm saying? It's just, and man, speaking of emotions, man, one thing that I noticed about you is that tenacity, man. I was reading in the bio, and I remember, man, 14 years old, before 14 years old, man, I remember you jumping up on sofas, screaming and hollering, preaching and carrying on. One of my fondest memories about you with ministry, man. You had to be probably about 6, 7 years old, man. I'll never forget this here, man. And we was watching this show, don't even come on no more. We was watching Donahue, and they had a little young white boy, and he his daddy had him on there. He was like a preaching prodigy, and he started preaching, man. And you look, it was like I was looking at you, man, and you got so excited, you jumped up and he said, man, he ain't got nothing on me. He ain't got nothing. And man, you went to jumping off from one sofa to the other, preaching and just going in. And I think what's funny about that, man, like I said, that was like 6, 7 years old, you know. And reading the bio, it looks like you were licensed and ordained at like 14 years old, you know. And I think that's something that helps us in beating the beast, man. What I want to talk about right now, man, is being that you've seen your purpose. You know what I'm saying? You know, you not only seen your purpose. Another thing that I think is powerful, as far as beating the beast, is knowing your gifting, identifying your gifting. You feel what I'm saying? And I think, man, tell us about how that was. You know, and you came into something that was really reserved for old men. You know what I'm saying? That was really reserved for old men, man, and you stuck with it. You stuck with it. So, man, tell me about how that was, man, growing up as not only the preacher's child, but the preacher too. You know what I'm saying? Being a teenager, the diversity. Tell me about some of the things that you went through, man, and how it was.
Well, of course, man. You know, I'm an Okie from Muskogee, so we got to get that out there. You know what I mean? I'm definitely an Okie from Muskogee, born in Muskogee, Oklahoma. Of course, dad is, you know, a preacher pastor. It has been all my life. I believe he's been all your life. He started
Yeah.
preaching right around the time that you were born. And so he's basically been pastoring all of my life, preaching
Mhm.
all of your life. So we definitely grew up in a preacher's household. And here's the reality, man. I think the reality is that very early on, and people ask me all the time, well, you know, how old were you when you knew you was called? I said, man, I knew I was called when I knew who I was. I mean, I guess whenever I came to understand who I was, I
Yeah.
knew I was called. I mean, I knew I was called before, probably when I learned my name and even knew I existed. And so, you know, you're exactly right. That is an advantage, man. You know, I knew what God had called me to do at a very early age. Now, let me say this. I think that gives me, having listened to that, having admitted that, being aware of that, and being and understanding the blessing of that and the advantage of that
Hmm.
makes me very compassionate towards others. I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
how much an advantage it is to know what you wanted to be since you knew yourself. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? And everyone doesn't have that advantage. Everyone doesn't get that particular gift to be able to know who you are and what you want to be. I mean, the moment you know who you are, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that is an incredible advantage. But to whom much is given, much is required, right? And so that goes to this that you're talking about of what that looks like played out over a particular period of time, right?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
whom much is given, much is required. If you know who you're supposed to be at 7, 8 years old, now you got the challenge of living that from 7, 8 years old. That
Yeah.
ain't no
Yeah.
easy stuff. And so, you know, listen, I've always said it, and you've said it as well, man, that whether you figure that out later, whether you figure that out early, whether God brings you through it or keeps you from it, all of that is a
Yeah.
part of God's story for you, right?
Yes, sir.
It doesn't mean that you have any quote unquote God loves you any more, any less. I've got a challenge because at 7, 8 years old, I know I'm supposed to be a preacher pastor. So now here I am, you know, at 13, 14, 15, 16, you know, trying to walk holy in high school. You know,
Out look, out there playing basketball in
trying
church shoes.
you know, exactly. I mean, I'm trying to be a Christian in college. You know, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
just these crazy times people don't have to deal with because hey, I don't know I'm called, so I ain't got to try to figure out how to live called.
Yeah.
And so there's an advantage, quote unquote, to some in that direction. But you know, it creates that diversity, man. It makes you real sensitive. So of course, we were born in Muskogee, Oklahoma. Fourth grade, man, we moved. I believe 4 times in one
Yeah.
year, man. 3 different states, 4 times moved in one year. Went from Oklahoma to Muskogee, Oklahoma to Houston, Texas. From Houston, Texas to Mallsville, from Mallsville to Westlake, and then in my fifth grade year, we were in Westlake. Sixth grade year, we were in DeQuincy. It just moved around a lot, man. But I always remember, man, very early on, something latched on. Someone gave me Jeremiah 1, right? Jeremiah 1. Before I formed you, I knew you.
Yeah.
Before I formed you, I knew you. Man, that is such power, and it probably has produced the very foundation of my life. Of it doesn't matter of the circumstances, the situation, where you are, how things are going. Man, God knew all that from jump, and He put in you what He
Yeah.
needed to get out of you, no matter what the
I like that.
situation. And the situation and the circumstances only to get out you what's already in you, man. And,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so,
He put in
so
you
that
what he
level
want
of
to get out you. I
confidence.
like that.
Yeah, yeah, that's all. He's just trying to get it out you, man. You know what I mean? And God has to many times go through the same process that we do. When we see jewels that are hidden in the ground, we got to mine them things. We got to hit
Hmm.
them. We got to break it up. We got to dig. And many times, the circumstances and trials and tribulations are just the conveyor belts, man, and the mining tools that are trying to get that jewel, that gift that God has put in us, out of us. And once you realize that, man, you stop hating the circumstances, man. You stop hating the
Yeah, yeah.
circumstances. And so I think one of the advantages that I have is understanding that, and having understood that very early, just having dug into Jeremiah. And so for me, I've been through some heck circumstances, man. I've had some blows, man, and you know this. I've had some hit, brother. And thank God I don't look like what I've been through. But here's the thing: I try never to hate my circumstance. I try never to hate my circumstance.
Yeah.
I try to love my circumstance. I try
That's
to
it.
love
That's
my
it.
situation.
That's it.
And man, when you embrace the circumstance and the situation, knowing, watch this, man, is working for your good.
Hmm.
Man, listen, I'm telling you, one of the famous quotes, quote unquote, here in Mount Olive. I've been pastor in Mount Olive for 10 years.
Okay, okay.
But it was about 10 years ago. It was about 10 years ago. Some circumstances had hit, some trials had hit, man. And man, we were going through the transition from assistant pastor to eventually becoming the pastor. And there was this middle ground, man, that was
Hmm.
real shaky. And kind of my last sermon at Mount Olive, I actually was leaving Mount Olive at this point, and I kind of preached my last sermon for saying, look, I was assistant pastor, got into that David and Saul situation, and I was actually walking away from Mount Olive. And my last sermon there, man, I said before I left, and it was almost one of them Obama dropped the mic moments before Obama dropped the mic. I
Yeah,
said, just so you realize, my haters work for me.
yeah, yeah,
My
yeah,
haters
yeah.
work for me. And so
I
again,
like that.
that's about loving your circumstances, because you realize, even if all things work together for your good, your haters work for you.
Now
And
check
so
this out.
you learn
Check this
how to
out.
love your haters.
You said something awesome, man. You said something awesome. You was talking about mining things. So anytime you want to mine something, you know what's down there. You know that what you're mining for is a lot of times, man. When they do mining, a lot of times that stuff is priceless. So now, with that mining and the certain circumstances, and you was just saying, man, that sometimes God will use diversity, well, adversity, Lord, adversity to work out for your good. Now check this out. I read in the bio. You didn't go into too much detail, but I read in the bio that you graduated, okay? And we're not even gonna talk about high school because look, that's gonna make you look old. But he was in beta, everything, man. Look real good, look real good. But let's talk about this college and mining. So, and the diversity, the adversity that you went through with college. It says that you graduated from Magnesia, right? But now, from what I'm understanding and what I witnessed, there was a lot of mining and changing and diversity that went on to get that degree. From what I remember, man, and what you witnessed 2 or 3 hurricanes and all kind of stuff. Having to change schools, this, that, and the other. How was that having not only to uproot, because it's different when you have to uproot as a child because you basically just doing what mom and daddy said. But now when you ran into that same cycle of transitioning, out of your wheel as an adult, that's somebody that has already graduated. How did that affect you? And not only the negative side, but what tools did you develop out of that situation?
Man, I learned this later on in life, that my fourth grade year, man, my fourth grade year was so providential. When we moved those 3 or 4 times, my fourth grade year, And I mean, I can still go back and remember my best friends. You know, there was
Mhm.
Darren Doodley in Muskogee. There was Meredith in Houston, man.
Yeah.
There was Cleveland. Me and Cleve friends now over in Westlake. You know, moved to DeQuincy and met Carl McCoy, man. And so and Babu and
Mhm.
Gerald Mankey
Mhm.
and Marco Payne, you know, and all those, man, all those friends, man, that eventually I had to transition away from in some way, shape, form, or fashion. That were there for a moment, there for a season, were blessed in my life at that particular point in time. But circumstances, man, kind of broke that up, uprooted that.
Mhm.
I realized, man, that fourth grade year was, man, it was giving me the skill that would give me an advantage, man. And
Yeah.
so what I learned was through those changes, quote unquote, the trauma of moving actually gave me a key to my triumphs.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
which
Mhm.
was I have the ability to move on quickly. I have the ability to move on quickly because I've had it at fourth. I had to learn how to look, man. Okay, Darren's gone. You got to find a new friend. Boom, found
Yeah. Yeah.
Meredith. All right, you moved from Houston to okay. You got to find a new friend. Found Cleveland. Moved to Quincy. Oh, hey, Cleveland gone. You got to find a new friend. Boom, found Carl. Whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
21. Call dies. Boom, gotta do something different. Gotta move on. And so I've
Wow.
learned this kind of, you know, most people have an issue disconnecting, right?
Yeah.
Most
Yeah.
people have an issue moving on because of that experience in my fourth grade year, man, I don't have that same challenge. And so when it hit me in college, okay, so you go to college, and man, of course, like you mentioned, high school, I'm in, you know, beta club, state beta secretary, running for national office, you know, going to boys state. I mean, I'm doing it all. Go to Xavier University in New Orleans, freshman year, I'm the president of the dorm. The dorm win the step show. You know, I mean, it's happening. I'm doing what I like nonstop. It was a
Yeah.
smooth transition. I'm rocking, man. You know, I'm on my path to be president of the student body. I'm on my way, man. And get to the sophomore year, get to my sophomore year in college, and man, Katrina come. Wham, man. And so, but it's the way Katrina happened, man. Very quick, like I tell this story. So the way Katrina happened was, first and foremost, the first few weeks of school, and I've been moved to this sophomore dome or apartment like, man. I'm decorating it, setting it up, man. I got it's 2 rooms, a little living room, real nice, man. I say, oh, this the move right here.
Yeah.
I didn't came up. If you ever lived in St. Michael Dome, you were like, oh, I didn't came up. So man, we get it all decorated and all nice, and then I get the call from St. Mike's, the freshman dorm. Man, we need you to come be an RA, bro. Look, RAs make a little bit of money. RAs, you know, got their room and board covered. And
Mhm.
look, I'm a broke dude from DeQuincy, so I'm like, man, I sure like this nice sophomore pad. Boy, I better go get this money. So,
Yeah.
man, I was upset, but I knew what I had to do. I was angry, but I knew what I had to do. So, man, I grabbed everything out my little sophomore dorm, threw it in the car, drove over to the freshman dorm, got out the car, only took one handmade quilt, took my one handmade quilt and a pillow, threw it on the bed, and I said, and in the morning, I'm going home. I'm going to chill at the house for the weekend. I'll come back, you know, on Monday and unpack all this stuff and get settled in this new dorm because I
Mhm.
really didn't want to be there. Well, Saturday morning, I get up, left my quilt on the bed, left my pillow. All my other stuff is in my car now. All my other stuff is in my car because I was leaving the one dorm to the next. All my other stuff in my car. I get in my car, I drive home. Halfway home, my friends from Xavier calling me, man, hey, can we get a ride out of town? I say, what you talking about? They were like, man, a hurricane coming. We got to get. Man, I say, look, I'm in Lafayette. I'm halfway home. I can't help you. I'm
Yeah.
halfway home. I get home with all my stuff except a quilt, man, with everything except the quilt, not even knowing what was coming. And I'm at home. Hurricane Katrina comes, basically, I mean, destroys New Orleans. And so I'm at home with all my stuff. Again, watching God work like,
Look,
whoa, man,
what they
God
say,
just,
be instant in season and out of season.
man, God worked that thing
Yeah.
out. So again, it was working, work for my, I thought was bad, worked for me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so so I just enrolled right here at McNeese. I couldn't go back, so I enrolled in McNeese, got started at McNeese. Hurricane Rita hit. Bam, blew through Lake Charles, tore up Lake Charles. You know it. We ended up in Arkansas, for I don't know 3, 4 months, however long it was, and that's where I had this big decision to make. Had a huge decision to make on whether to go back to Xavier, whether to go back to McNeese, which one I was gonna do. Man, spent a lot of time out there by a lake praying, and God simply said this: if you go back to Xavier, I'll make you a CEO. He said, if you go back to Lake Charles, I'll make you a pastor. It was that clean. And I kept praying and I said, well, God, what do you want me to do? And he just wouldn't, it didn't feel like he gave me a clear choice, but he
Yeah.
wouldn't give me the final answer, right? And so I remember going to Pop. I remember going to Dad, our father, and I said, Pop, man, look, I think I got these two choices, but God won't read it to me. And man, Dad said something amazing. He said, look, he said, son, sometimes when you've been faithful, you really have a legitimate choice. God
Hmm.
legitimately gives you a choice.
Hmm.
It's not blessings or curses, it's God and grace. And see,
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
tough,
Yeah.
man. Sometimes, it's easy to
Ooh,
choose between
Lord.
bad and good, right? Or
Yeah.
it's even sometimes easy to choose between good and great. But man, when you got great and God, this is great to be a CEO. One of my dreams as well. Man, this is God over here to become a pastor. Which one do I do? And sometimes God gives you that legitimate choice just to see your level of passion and your level of commitment. Do you really want out of life what He wants for you? Or
And
do you want out of life only what He can give you,
to add
right?
another aspect to it, man, one of those just to add something else to that. One of the hardest decisions is not only when it's a God and good, but when it really affects your personal life. When you're just like that, you're looking at your entire future. You know what I'm saying? Those things, what I've noticed some of the most difficult decisions that I've had to make, man, when trying to follow God, and man, it's the ones when it's my money, when it's my children, you know what I'm saying? Those things that are really personal and dear to you. It changes the whole ball field. So I mean, I think
Yeah,
like
yeah. So,
it's.
so yeah, I mean, just completely crazy. Obviously,
Mhm.
decided to come back to McNeese. 3 or 4 years later, I end up the pastor of Mount Olive Baptist Church. And so God did what He said He was going
Mhm.
to do. But it's
Mhm.
exactly right. It was through that adversity that really toned in. You said the adversity brings diversity. But here's another thing: adversity will bring you to your destiny.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Adversity will bring you to your destiny. And so that adversity, my sophomore year, brought me to the destiny of the church I've pastored for a decade, the wife I've had for over a decade, the 4 children that I have, the
Mhm.
jobs that I've had, the opportunities that I've had. And so that adversity not only created diversity in my life, but it brought me to the destiny of my life.
And what we like to call it around here is beating the beast. That's what happens when you beat the beast. Well, look, they say no killer, no king. Once you beat the beast, you acquire the land. Once you beat the beast, you acquire the land, the prize. Man, check this out. Check this out. Speaking of that diversity, one that excites me about you every time we talk, man. The and not only just in conversation, but just watching the things that you have going on, man. Your style is diverse. I noticed one thing about you, man. There's three things that we always, when you go on a new job, they tell you do not talk about. Do not talk about race, religion, and politics. And one thing that I've noticed, man, is those are some things that you are actively involved in. You know what I'm saying? And what I love about it is, don't get me wrong, I salute you as a pastor. But on this one, I want to salute you as a man because a lot of times, what I've noticed when you're dealing with race, religion, and politics, that's Braylon. You know what I'm saying? That's the Braylon side. You know what I'm saying? It's not. And I understand it as a pastor. What you do is a reflection of your ministry of your church. You know what I'm saying? But I've noticed that you don't keep your ministry at a bare minimum. You know what I'm saying? Some of the things that you're doing is you as a man. So let me ask you something. How do and at the same time you still bivocational. You're just not a full-time pastor. You're still working and stuff. So how do you balance, being actively involved in religion, you know what I'm saying, politics and race? You know what I'm saying? Because I've watched, man, I watched even with the race dealing with churches, man, you a trendsetter. Some of the movements that you're making, there are some trend. It's a lot of trend setting going on. Some of the people that the organizations and some of the people that you're working with, you're doing some things that have not been seen before. And I want you to touch on that also. With the recovery, things like that, the hurricane recovery and things like that. you recently just had a run in politics. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes down to the race relation, what I love about it, and I'm gonna let you talk, man. But I want to give you what they say, give you your roll your flowers while you still here. The one of the things that I thought was awesome about it is a lot of times as a black man, okay, we have to, and this is like I say, we keep it real around here. A lot of times to function in some of the places that you work for the DA office, you know what I'm saying? Some of the places, a lot of times, in order for us to function in certain areas, we basically have to set our blackness on the shelf. And that was something that I found impressive about you. You're always willing, regardless of where you're at, how you're doing it. You're always willing to advocate for your people and help to push them in a better position. And I've never seen you, set your blackness on the shelf or set yourself on the shelf. A lot of people become somebody else simply to survive. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, I want to give you a salute on that. But I want you to, man, tell us a little bit about that. The balance. Let me go back to the original
Yeah,
question.
so
The balance.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. Balance is key. Balance is key. But it really comes down, man, to knowing yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta be, man. Listen, if there's one thing I wish I could give everybody is to be comfortable in your own skin and respectful of everybody else.
Yes.
Man,
Yes.
just get
Yes. Yes.
comfortable in your own skin. Know your role, man. It's one of the wrestlers. I can't remember what it. Maybe Stone Cold Steve. I don't know who it was. He said, "Know your role and
Like
shut your
shut your
mouth."
hole. Yeah.
Yeah, know your role
Yeah.
and shut your hole, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing I'm comfortable with. I understand my role, but I have a listen. And this comes, man. And listen, this is where I got to give a salute to you, man, big bro. It's beautiful, man, when you don't have to be the yin and the yang because you know the yang to your yin. You
Yeah. Yeah.
understand what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Let me say that again. Somebody to get that, man. When you know you don't have to be the yin and the yang when you know the yang to your yin, man. And see, I grew up with the
That's
yang to
good.
my yin,
That's
man.
good.
And you know what I mean? I grew up with my counter ego or whatever the case may
Yeah.
be, and that's you, man. You radical, you crazy, you know what I mean? You're a little on the edge or whatever the case may be. I'm more centered, right? And
Yeah.
so whatever the case may be. And so it allows me to be comfortable with who I am because
Mm.
I know my yin. I know I have a high respect for people that are different. And so, for example, just that balance, man, understanding balance, you got to understand, man. I know for me, and again, it's knowing yourself and having appreciation for everyone else. I'm gonna say
Yeah.
that again. Know
That's
yourself
good. That's
and
good.
appreciate everyone else. Don't try to be
That's real
anyone
good.
else, but appreciate everyone else. And understand, man, listen, as the Bible says, man, God has set every member in the body as it pleases him, and everything to get the job done. And so I have a unbelievable respect for people who are different from me that attack situations in a different way than I attack them. And by no means do I believe that my way is the best way. It's just the way that God has given me, man. It's just the
Hmm.
mentality and the mindset, the articulations that God has given me. And so listen, I just try to master me. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I
Yeah.
just try to be the best me and understand I got that's only a part of the grand scheme. One of the issues that we have, man, is people think your way is the best way. Nah, man,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
way is one of the ways. You understand? Now, unless we talking about salvation and Jesus Christ is the only way, the truth, and the light. Okay, that's there. But when we talk about all this other stuff, man, your way of getting something done is a way of getting it done. You
Hmm.
understand what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And there's other pieces that even make your way a possibility. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
very, yeah, very. So I like to all the time. Listen, I'm one of the people like in the room and ask what I think about something,
Hmm.
right? And versus the person that's outside of the room and screaming how they feel. Now, here's the thing, though. A lot of people want to be the person at the table being asked how they feel, and they shun the people outside screaming about how they feel into the room. The only reason you get to the table and someone asks you how you feel is because they're listening to the people outside the room screaming about how they feel. And
Yeah.
they ask you how you feel about what they're saying. And
Hmm.
so it does take those people for you to even get the question. And so it's about understanding that everybody and everything works together for the good. And that gives you this balance, man, of understanding, man, I'm just one. I'm just a piece of this thing. But I've got to be a good piece. And so when you start
Yeah.
talking about race, man, listen. One of the things that I believe too, we grew up. I call a half. I was half race, right, quote unquote. Got there when I was in sixth grade. And DeQuincy, man, it's a white town. I don't know, 15%, 10% black, whatever
Yeah,
it might
yeah,
be. That little
not much.
community, over there, or whatever the case may be. And so, I grew up with a unique experience, man. You grew up with a unique experience. We're third generation crossovers. I like to call it, quote unquote. For three or four generations, back, our grandfathers and fathers have always been able to operate in quote unquote the white
Hmm.
world. Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you go back on both sides, right? Our great
Hmm.
grandfathers on both sides were able to navigate the world and be reasonably successful at that time. Our grandfathers on both sides were
Hmm.
able to navigate and do what they did. And then, of course, we've been able to do that as well. And so now here's the thing. One, again, like learning my calling early, right? To whom much is given, much is required. Now, what does that mean? That means I cannot respond in situations like someone that does not have my experiences or my generational success, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So there are things that bother other people, don't bother me, and I'm okay with that. And I can't get flustered like they get flustered because I've got generations, man, of working race relations, right? My,
Yeah.
my great grandfather was able to work race relations and get the advantage out of it. My grandfather worked race relations and get the advantage of it. Guess what I can do? I can work race relations and get
Yeah,
the advantage
yeah,
of it
yeah.
because my dad was able to work race relations and get the advantage of it. So I'm three or four generations into being able to navigate this thing with some success. Watch, because of skills, natural skills, abilities, and then natural demeanors and character. And
Hmm.
so I've got to remember who I am. That's who
Yeah.
I am. That's who I am. My grandfather, my great grandfather were all able to navigate in quote unquote wide circles. These very skills, their ability, ability to articulate themselves, and just dominate their craft. Right? They
Oh yeah.
dominated their craft. All of them dominated their craft, and so we got some secret sauce right there. You know what I'm saying? We got some secret sauce right
Yeah,
there. And,
yeah,
and, and so one of the things is don't perpetrate like you don't have it.
yeah.
If you got
Okay,
it, you got
okay.
it. Don't and if you got it, you got it. Don't mean flaunt it, but it don't mean fake it. Oh, you got to catch that one right there.
Come
It
on,
don't
come
mean
on.
flaunt it, but it sure don't mean fake it, dog.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? So I got it. I've got that gift. I've got that craft. And so you just work race relations because you know what, man. Listen, one thing that you know that I knows too as well, man. You let every tub sit on its own bottom. You give everybody a chance, and you be careful who you give a second one. That's just the way it goes. You give
Like that.
everybody a first chance, and you be careful who you give a second one.
Yeah.
And so you don't walk into a situation saying all white people this, or all black people that, or
Hmm. Hmm.
all man, listen, every tub get to sit on its own bottom. You heard that, I heard that, we were raised like that. Every
Yeah,
tub
yeah,
get to
definitely.
sit on its own bottom. We grew up, man, my dad had incredible white friends,
Look,
man.
look,
I
look,
mean, Fred
look.
and
I
all
was
boy, we had incredible.
I was a teenager before I realized Uncle Bob. we had
What,
white uncles and uncles. Ain't it? You know what I'm saying? But going back down to that diversity, being that we were away from home, pops, we didn't even realize what was going on. But we legitimately were forced to create our own family unit. You know what I'm saying? And so I think just like what you're saying, the although we stand bold as black men. You know what I'm saying? We deal with black agendas. It's not from a hate standpoint. It's about from man, I gotta help my people. You know what I'm saying? And I just think I was telling somebody the other day, if you remember that, man, growing up, my best friend was white, Mexican, and Indian. One other black guy. You know what I'm saying? And the diversity has always been there. So I think that's definitely going back down like we were saying earlier. It adds more tools to your skill set. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's awesome, man. You spoke on politics, and look, now I'm about to combine one, man. Like I say, we keep it real around here. We keep it real around here. All right, we spoke on politics. We talked about my being able to migrate in race relations and deal with race situations, man. So now, man, I ain't feeling that boy they voted for, man. I ain't gonna call his name, man. We gonna call that boy I'm a fool right now, man. If you from Louisiana, you know who your district representative is. We gonna leave it at that. But my thing is, man, how does it feel? Okay, let's see. I want to word this right. The
Keep it real.
How does it help you? I mean, how do you stay motivated? Okay, to continue fighting the good fight when it comes down to race relations, when you know that that racism, you know what I'm saying, continues to affect you. You know what I'm saying? When we set these two guys side by side, and some of you guys are familiar with the election that just passed, when you set resumes side by side, Bray blew him out the water. You know what I'm saying? When you talk about the elegance of speech, blew him out the water. Plans, programming, blew him out the water. So now, when it comes down to it, and like I said, we're not quick to call a race card, but we are quick to keep it real. When it comes down to it, the good old boy system, the I know this name, and race played a huge role in this. You feel what I'm saying? How do you know? And one of the things, let me say this here, man. Let me say this here. And while we keeping it real, one of the things that's difficult is sometimes you got to continue, and I'm sure you've been in this position. You got to continue to work on those race relations. Let's say, for instance, I can have a white friend, right? I'm sure you've been through this here, and you guys are buddy. But there are some issues that he can know you're the best man for the job, but he's got to go with the white guy. You know what I'm saying? How do you come back? Let's say, since the vote was on Saturday, you know that he knew you were the most qualified, but you know he wouldn't voted for the other guy, or did what was best for that community, that side of the tracks, okay? And then come back on Monday morning willing to work, willing to work. You feel what I'm saying? Willing to work. Because to me, it would be difficult knowing that, bro. You know, come on, bro. You could have helped me. You could have helped me get into the position where I needed to be. You could have helped me fulfill this destiny. And in this situation, Lord, you could have put the whole state in a better situation. But race calls
You
you
know,
not to. How does it
let
affect
me
you
tell you.
knowing that?
Well, again, it goes all the way back, right? It goes back to moving around the four different states in fourth grade, moving between one college to another college, losing your best friend to suicide early on in life, all of those things, and you realize it still works for your good, right?
And preaching
And
this
so
sermon too. That was powerful.
it's hard, man. It's hard to hate the circumstance.
I
It's
got you.
hard to hate the circumstance when you know it's working for you, right? It's
Yeah.
hard when you've been through as much as I've been through and watched God do as much as I watch God do. You laugh at stuff like that. You say, "Man, listen, don't worry, just wait." I'm gonna say that again. Don't worry, just wait. That's all. That's how you walk away from moments like that. And remember now, I have a natural, I have a built-in ability to disconnect, man. And so here's one thing. Let me tell you, the best sleep you get at night is when you done gave your best. Win, lose, or draw. When
Yeah.
you done
Yeah.
put it
Yeah.
down, when you done gave your best and gave it everything you have, you can go to sleep that night. Now listen, your buddy, your friend, your constituents, whoever, they got to toss and turn about did they do the right thing? Did they not do the right thing? Did they vote for the right person? Did they not vote for the right person? Was it racism? Was it classism? Was it hey, they got
Yeah.
to worry about all that. I
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
to bed, man. I go to
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just the reality to it, man. Because first and foremost, listen, can't nothing happen that God don't allow to happen.
I
First and
agree.
foremost,
I
and
agree.
God is on my side. So
Yeah.
so again, you just got to have that mindset that it's kind of crazy, but can't nobody touch you anyways. Can't nobody affect. Listen, unless God allow it, it ain't gonna happen. And so and He only gonna allow what He can do to the advantage of His people. And so, even in a situation like that, you just step back and say, "Don't worry, just wait. Let's see what's gonna happen." And then, you lose back October. You come to November, you see what happens there. Okay, you come over to January, you
Yeah.
see what's happening now, and you just sit back and fold your arms and just say, "Hey,
And
you
you
know
just
what I'm
wait.
saying? You don't have to worry. You don't have to lose no sleep. Hey, you don't have to do none of that. You just know, look, I did what I was supposed to do. And I worked as hard as I could work. And sometimes God is only using you, man. Listen, sometimes God is only using you as a mirror so people can see themselves.
Yeah. Now wait.
And you understand what I'm saying?
I
Sometimes
got
that's
you.
all he's doing.
And look.
He just needs you to be a mirror, man. And so he just needs, and very honestly, many people have asked me, Bray, well, how did you feel? How did you analyze it? What's the after action review of the campaign? And even recently, we've had, our current program, 3 years of working the Impact Agency, mentoring young boys. That's been defunded recently, and everybody's at, how do you feel? How Lies and what does it look further foremost? My previous boss said it best. It is what it is. That's number one.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And very honestly, beloved, I tell people all the time. I told someone this week. Sometimes you just hate to be right, man. You just hate to be right. Yeah, it's not. You're not shocked. It's not.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
new information.
That's
It
real.
just confirms what you already knew. But then, but you don't stop because of that. First and foremost, man, listen. If you want to be a champion, you got to be able to fight. You got to be willing to go in the ring when you know you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
All
By
right.
the way,
So if you're gonna be a champion,
speaking of
you
fighting,
can't just fight. You can't just fight. You think you're gonna win.
listen,
You got to be willing to get in the ring with somebody you think gonna knock you out, man. And if
that's
they
it.
do,
That's
hey,
it.
they knock you out. You seen that coming. You read the scorecard. You seen they reach. You seen what they. But you can't. You'll never become a champion just getting in the ring that you think you can win. And see that's that bully mentality,
Hmm.
man. When you got a bully mentality, versus see that's the difference between a bully and a bull, man. A bully don't want to get with folk he can whip, but a bull will get in the ring with anybody. And
Apply
so
that pressure.
that's
Yeah.
the difference, man. I ain't no bully. I'm a fool. I get in the ring with anybody, even
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
think I'm going to lose. Because guess what? It's going to make me strong. It's going to make me better. It's going to make me quick. It's going to make me more agile. It's going to make me smarter. And so when I look back at those situations, there's things in those situations they can't take. What you can't take is the experience. What you cannot take is the connection. What you cannot take is the understanding of the strategy, what will work. There are things I know that I had only assumed before that are unequivocal truths by the data now. I
That's real.
understand it. I
That's
know
real.
it. So you walk away and you understand the value and the asset it adds to your own life, and then people have to assess themselves and how that situation assess them. But for Braylon, all things work together for my good, man.
And
I ain't
look,
worried. I'm
and
just waiting.
they gonna be sick when they find out that was just a prototype and you gonna do it bigger and better. You know what I'm saying? I'm trusting
Listen,
God for that. But listen, let me look. I got another question because you touched on several things, and I'm gonna combine them together right quick to ask this question. You said that you know that God is on your side, right? We know that we serve a God that says there is a time for peace, there is a time for war. Okay. Now, I'm gonna use a play on words because I want to ask this question, man. Because one of the things another thing that I found was like you said, it's like yin and yang. A lot of times, man, I'm ready to go bite something, and you said you want to hold the leash. You like Brandon, it ain't worth it. Brandon, don't worry about it. You pull the leash back. You know what I'm saying? So now, and like you said, at the same time, it's not out of fear because man, we've seen your lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? You don't mind getting in the room, but in the ring with whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? But now my question is, how do you decide? Okay, when people need to be prayed for, and when they need to become prey. How do you make that? How you know when somebody has wronged you? How do you man? That Psalms 109 comes. Oh man, it make you want to sick something. You know what I'm saying? How do you know? How do you decide? How do you see God for discernment on whether I go in attack mode or whether I just offer grace and remain humble? How do you know when to stand? How do you know when to sit? How do you know when it's time to just pray? And I understand, don't get me wrong, I'm not jumping super religious. I understand that you pray about all decision making. But we're going back down to a lot of times when those situations affect you personally as a man. You feel what I'm saying? Personally as a father, personally as a husband, personally look as a breadwinner. You know what I'm saying? When those things are under attack, how do you what are some ways that you found help you distinguish whether it should be praying or praying?
well, first and foremost, you one, you
Keep it real now. Keep it real.
let me keep it really real. Let me
Keep it
keep it
really
really
real.
real.
Yeah.
The Bible says that the Lord laughs at the wicked.
Huh? But what
Why?
Bray say? What Bray
Because he
say?
know that day is coming.
Okay.
Because he
Okay.
know that day is coming. Yeah, so
Okay.
so 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 what I've learned is to laugh with the Lord. That's what I've
Huh.
learned
I
how to do.
got you. I
I've
got you.
learned how to laugh with the Lord. Man, I'm not getting it, but the Lord says He laughs at the wicked
Uh huh.
because He knows that day is coming, man. And so here's the thing, man. You have to learn how to laugh at the wicked man because
Got you.
there's no doubt. There's nothing unequivocal about it. You got to have this crazy faith that look here, man. They day coming. Just like mine came, that day is coming. Just last year, man, 2020, crazy year. I lost a house. I lost a race. and I've lost my job, right? I lost program that I was running, and people say, well, man, why aren't you bitter? Why aren't you angry? What? Listen, man, if I'm quote unquote righteous and my losing season came, do I have any doubt that the wicked's losing season is coming?
Come
Come on,
on,
man.
come on, come
If
on.
if I walk right and I'm trying to do all these things right, and I've lost in 1 year, lost my house, lost an election, lost a job, and I'm trying to do right,
Hmm.
and I've experienced that type of loss, do I have any doubt that if God's on my side and yet I've experienced those losses, that the person who's working against me won't experience even greater? I have no doubt in
Come
my
on.
mind. Am I praying for it? No, it's just the facts.
So,
Hashtag fact. That's just the reality.
bro.
So
So,
I
so, so,
want
so,
to.
so the key would be instead of focusing on the opposition, focus on keeping your intentions and your heart pure.
It's exactly, man. Listen, first and foremost, you always got to remember, and I always try to warn people that listen, man. In every Solomon, there's a David.
Hmm.
He might be using his wisdom, but he know how to use a weapon. Don't you ever mess that up. Don't you ever
Yeah,
mess that up. In
yeah, yeah, yeah,
every Solomon, there is a David, man. And
yeah,
while he tries to operate in wisdom 80, 90% of the time, he knows how to swing a weapon. You better believe Solomon knew how to swing a sword. He
yeah.
sling or something. He was the son of David, man.
You
It
right,
was in him.
right.
And so you know it like I know it, man. We grew up. We grew up quite capable of handling situations differently.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just
Oh
put it
yeah.
that way.
Oh yeah.
We grew up quite capable of handling things differently. We were raised by a Vietnam vet, man. So we think military strategy, and we think all of those things. Listen, we are pro submit. Okay, both of us probably don't leave home without something nearby and close. We were raised in that kind of family. Yeah, you think keep it real. You understand? Right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not.
Facts.
But the thing about it is, it's not that we can't do it that way.
Uh
We
huh.
realize that God is better at it.
Yeah. 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 That's
He's
good.
better
That's
at
good.
it. So I usually say it this way, man. If you let you remember you remember that video that movie, man, where somebody was getting ready to fight somebody and somebody said, no, don't you hit him, let me hit him.
Yeah.
You remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, don't you hit him, let me hit him. And then the other guy hit him. I feel that way in my relationship with God, man. I
I
be
like that.
ready to go in on somebody. I be ready to square up with somebody or whatever the case may be. And I just feel the spirit of God say, don't you hit him. Let me hit him. Because
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
I hit him, you can't hit him. And here's the final thing, man. I was reading this morning. I was reading this morning that they're getting ready to set the international clock forward, like do a leap second, because what they've discovered is that the world is spinning faster than they thought.
Okay.
So let me tell you how that resonated with me. They're getting ready to do a leap second on the international atomic clock. Is spinning faster than they thought it was spinning.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that one more time. They're getting ready to do a leap second on the international atomic clock because the world is spinning faster than they thought it was spinning. And
Yeah.
so, guess what, beloved? You know what they told me in the midst of this season that I'm in? It's coming around faster than they expected.
I like that. I like that. I like that. Man, look, this has been awesome. This has been awesome. I've definitely loved the interview. Definitely loved the discussion. Listen, man, there's one segment that I want to introduce, man. And look, you the first one. Like I say, very first episode, very first season, man. One of the things that we do at the same time, we do motivational speaking, life coaching. The one of the things that I wanted to deal with, man. One of my mottos is beat the beast. Okay, all of us go through opposition. All of us go through a rough time. You know what I'm saying? The scripture says that we're strengthened, by the power of our testimonies. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to it, what I want you to share with people and what we want to talk about is overcoming. You know what I'm saying? Overcoming that diversity, overcoming opposition, and really encouraging other people. Like I said, with this podcast, we'll be allowing people to share their stories, share their life experiences. You know what I'm saying? Because like we were saying, everybody's experience is different. But at the same time, there are bits and pieces and tools that are thrown out there that we can all use to benefit our own lives and our own situations. So in this segment, man, we call this segment Beat the Beast. Okay. And what we want to do, like I said all the time, we want to encourage people to become the beast, the beast, the beast. Don't just get to that there and get beat up. You know what I'm saying? When you get knocked down, get back on your feet. Get back on your feet. Get back in the fight. But what we want to talk about right now in this section, I want you to reflect for a few minutes about your life, okay? And a time to where you really wanted to do it. And I know we talked about all of the good things and how you knew from this age and all this, how you persevered, man, persevered. But what we want to talk about now is one of those times that you really, really, legitimately want to keep it real. Wanted to throw in the towel, give it all up, turn the other way. I mean, some of us have even dealt with suicidal moments to where we really just wanted to completely give up completely. You know what I'm saying? But what were one of those times and how did you overcome that? How did you overcome that? And listen, what did you learn and what did that bring you to?
Man,
Beat the beast
listen,
session in full effect. Beat
listen,
the
man.
beast.
I've been in the jungle, brother. I've been in some jungle, big old beast, brother.
Yeah.
And you know this at an early age. When you take great, when God has a great calling on your life, and He wants to do great things with you, you gotta face giants real early, man. So
Yeah.
again, I'm going back to what I said before. People say, "Oh man, you knew since you was young, what you wanted to be and what God wanted to do with you." Man, listen, there's a challenge in that. There's a
Yeah.
major
Oh
challenge
yeah.
in that because as soon as you know is as soon as He coming.
Hmm.
As soon as the adversary as the beast is coming, so you got to develop the beast real early on the inside of you. So man, listen, I've had several times, very frankly, man, I've had several times where I wanted to throw in the towel. I've had times in our immediate family when I wanted to throw in the towel. I've had times in my personal life where I wanted to throw in the towel. I've had times in my marriage where I wanted to throw in the towel. I've had times in my ministry where I wanted to throw in the towel. I've had times in my professional career where I wanted to throw in the towel. I've had times during my political career, during this last campaign, man. There was a time when I looked around, man, and I was in the middle of a campaign and my house was torn up and my house was destroyed and everyone on my campaign team was displaced and we still had several weeks to go in the campaign. Literally, I remember being on a call with my team, and virtually we were literally talking about, look, we got every excuse to quit right now and just walk away from this thing, okay? So not only have I been in that position of wanting to throw in the towel once, but literally I've been in that position multiple times in every single area of my life. Every single area
Wow.
of my life. I remember, I'll never forget it. Probably one of the most profound moments I've ever had. I'll remember I was coming and we were going through some challenges at the church at that time. And let me tell you something, man. If you ain't seen no challenges like church challenges, okay? Especially when you 25, 26,
Yeah.
27 years old and you a 70-year-old church, okay? You come up against some stuff and you trying to push it and bring it into the fulfill, bring in vision and bring in real progressive thoughts and being able to get out in the community and do great things. I remember, man, I was headed to a church meeting, and I knew, brother, it was gonna be some beast in that meeting. I already knew this was gonna be a rough meeting. Okay, and I was literally, I remember where I was, man. I was coming down 210. I left McNeese where I was working at that time on my way to the church over on 7th Street. And on my way from McNeese to 7th Street, I'm up on 210. And right around the time I got to Sawella, I said, God, I just want to cry. Can I just cry? Can I just pull over and cry? I said, that's all I want to do. I said, God, at that point, I was like, I believe you can do it, but I just want to cry. I just want to get it out. And the Spirit of God said, for what? I say, because I just feel like crying. He said, well, if you feel like crying, why you not crying? I say, I don't know, but if you would let me just pull over, I'd like to cry. Can I just cry for a minute? Can I just say it's too much for a minute? Can I just lament for a moment here? Man, and I and I just remember God saying, "You know too much. You know too much. If you were anyone else, you could cry. If you were anyone else, I'd let you quit. If you were anyone else, I'd let you throw in the towel. If you were anyone else, you could sink into depression. If you were anyone else, that day, listen, that's cool. I wouldn't even take it against you, but you know too much." And so, Brandon, I got to say, man, I've seen God do too much to throw in the
Hmm.
towel. I've
Uh,
seen him. I've seen him take nothing, man. You know what I mean? And let me give you an example, man. I was talking to Mama the other day, and you know we'll talk about it on another story. I was talking to Mama the other day, and Mama said, "I believe our parents are on there. I don't know 40 something year married. It's
yeah, yeah,
40, I don't know, 47, 48, whatever
yeah,
it is.
yeah.
It's a long time. The people been married forever. Okay, 47. They all probably almost pretty close to their 50th year, whatever the case may be. Been married for a long time." And we know the struggles that they've had in their marriage, and I'm sure they would tell it and talk about it or whatever the case may be. And I listened to Mama the other day said, "Man, I never thought my marriage would be this good."
Look at God.
It blew my mind, man. It blew my mind, and I'm gonna try to hold it together, but we got to keep it real. I remember, man. I remember holding Mama uh in third and fourth grade when the song "I'm Not Gonna Cry" came out. and Mama thought that was her personal testimony. Y'all not out here, man. Y'all not. I remember that, man. I remember trying to counsel Mama. I remember trying to console my mother, 20 years ago, because things were not what she wanted them to be, or whatever the case may be. And I'm sitting here today. After all of that, after that situation, after all the moves, after the losing our oldest brother, their oldest son, the first son. After all of that, I'm looking at my mom saying, "My life has never been this good."
My God.
I'm listening to her, and it's legit. It's real. I can hear it in her voice. I can hear the joy. I can hear the deep relations in her saying, "My life has never been this good. My relationship with your daddy has never been this good. Man, we ain't had a disagreement in years. Man, I'm listening to that, and see again. I know too much. I know too much. I know that if it take 20 years, if it take 30 years, if it take 40 years, if it take
Ah,
almost 50
yeah,
years,
yeah.
it works together for your good, man. And
Yes.
so one thing you got to become in life if you're going to be a beast is collect testimonies. Collect them.
Oh,
Become a
yes, yes,
collector of testimonies. Man,
yes.
when you hear a testimony, you take that testimony and you collect it, man. You hold that thing. When you hear what God does for them, you hold that. You hold if you're not rich in anything else, you better be rich with testimony because that's what makes you a beast in this world. When you know you got testimony, you can pull out a testimony and say, "No, he can do that too." How you know? Because I got a testimony right here. Sister Sally, 20 years ago, he did that. He can do that. Hey, I got another one over here. You want
Look,
to become a beast? Become a collector of testimony.
I used to call it my faith file cabinet.
You understand?
You gotta
You
file
got to
that
have a
thing and pull it
faith
out.
life.
Yeah, yes, man, that's powerful. That is powerful, man. And like I said, man, listen, we're gonna wrap up. We definitely enjoyed this thing, man. And listen, wipe your face, boy. Wipe your face. Wipe your face. It ain't got good to you. We
I'm
have
trying.
definitely, look. That's that real. That's that real, man. We have definitely enjoyed this.
That's real.
The and this will not be the last one. I told him when we first started. I say, man, we're gonna wind up having our own little series. We may even get other people to come in and we interview them. But this has been dynamic. This is, man, what they say, man. We see that picture where it shows the iceberg and you just see the tip hanging out the top. This is just the tip of the iceberg, man. I salute you. And look, man, I tell you to continue to carry on. This has been awesome. And this is what we're gonna do, man. You threw a whole nother perspective on the beating the beast. We want to encourage people to collect these testimonies that are going forward. And what we want to do, look, before we head out, man, is there one last thing that you would like to share with all the other listening and viewing on?
Man, listen. Play the hand that you dealt, man. Play the hand that you dealt. Learn. Listen. One of the things in this season that I've tried to do, and I encourage everyone. The Bible says, "Listen, study to be silent.
Yeah,
Study to be silent."
I'm working on that.
Man. Listen. Yeah, study to be silent. Study to be silent. And here's another thing. Let the hammer make the noise. Don't knock your mouth. Let the hammer make the noise. Put in the work. Put in the grind. Work on the project that God has assigned you to. Be quiet and let the hammer make the noise. And so that's what I'm focused on right now. I'm working on some stuff, and let me tell you something. Real soon, the hammer gonna start making the noise, man. And
I
so
love it.
in your life, whatever God has in front of you, whatever God has you doing, Hear me out, man. Hear me out. Let the hammer make the noise.
Let the hammer make the noise. Man, listen, this has been The Real with Big Brother Brandon with our special guest, little brother, Braylon Harris. And man, listen, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Look, give us a look. Not next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, we'll be right back at it. Stay tuned. Listen, like it, love it, share it. It'll be on. Look, we're posting it everywhere. Apple, the Spotify. It'll be everywhere. YouTube. You'll be able to see the visuals on YouTube, Facebook. When you see it, share it. Listen, listen, listen. Even if this particular story didn't bless you, it may bless somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And what we're going to do, like I said, collect these testimonies, and we're going to continue to build a beast that beats the beast. Holla at your boy. This has been The Real with Big Brother Brandon.
You tuned in to a really real show. Real show. Straight facts coming from the big bro. Brandon. You tuned in to a really real show. Real show. Straight facts coming from the big bro. Brandon.